Right, so this one is Conversion Lab for 6th of Jan. And I wanted to go through a few of my thoughts about what's happening since the new year last year. Also playing around with a lot of automations, AI, and all that sort of stuff, and how it's changed my view a little bit in where someone can use it, how they can use it. So how this came about was I've been playing around with this stuff for a good year or two now. Uh, but I spoke to someone who they're doing almost 8 figures a month, if not some months they are going over 8 figures in lead gen. And this is obviously US and a couple of big markets. And it's just two guys. Nobody else. No external team members, nothing. They manage their own clients and pretty much have done, and they're managing that much ad spend and those many different markets, including all the creatives and they're on every channel or network you can think of. It's not an easy task, and so it's being done mainly through automations and AI and stuff. So that was sort of interesting to learn that even now people are pushing the boundaries of how far you can take this, and it was quite exciting to learn that. So yeah, 8 figure a month or a high 7 or 8 figure a month business that's got no employees. So it's already there. All right. So speed of
Nick,
execution. Yeah,
sorry,
go
Nick,
on.
just
Yeah.
before, how long have these guys been doing this? Has it been like a gradual process and it's just exploded, or is it like since AI, or have they been at it a
Yeah, no,
while?
no, no, no. They've always been on the forefront of using tech. So I remember, I guess they joined Leads Up maybe 2017. They've been on the platform for a while now,
Yeah,
2018. They were always quite advanced. So they were always doing like API calls halfway through the DT and all those sort of things that have become, well, we would have thought they would have been mainstay by now, but it's not. It's still unusual to find that. So they were sort of doing that sort of stuff years ago. And I guess as a result of their technical ability, they've been able to move into this side pretty quickly. So the way they work is they go for really big markets. So, things like your solar, debt refi, all that sort of stuff, and a handful of really big clients.
okay.
So it's not where they're working with lots of small clients. They're working with really big ones. So I guess that gives them a little bit of leeway in the volatility that you would experience when you're doing that level of ad spend. So, for example, their client, because they've been in the game a while, they probably don't freak out just because they're not going to get a handful of leads this week, which is
Yeah.
not the experience that you're going to have if you're running with someone smaller, where
Mm.
they'll start hitting the panic button if you don't deliver, I don't know, the 5 leads you said you would. So, so I guess that's the benefit. But then they do operate in the US, which allows you to get those big monster clients.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's kind of like, I guess, well, while we do want to acknowledge the fact that quite innovative in deploying this sort of stuff pretty quickly. But having said that, they also have the benefit of very large markets to play with, which is usually a problem when you go to small markets. So, for example, if you're in New Zealand, it'll be. I guess you can do that even now, even if you were in a place like New Zealand, because as you've seen, the automations are quite easy to do. So I'll share a few of them later on the call. Hey, Alan, good to see you on the call. And all right, let's move it on. So automations and AI is obviously out of the bag, massive move of the needle. So in my own case, this is a non-AI automation. So this is where it kind of started. I got a bit frustrated with accounting, type stuff. It was a bit slow for me. I wanted to get things done a bit faster. And I couldn't understand why so much time has been taken to just process invoices and stuff. Obviously, we're an Aussie dollar business with lots of invoices in US and Euro and all the other stuff. So it's not plain vanilla, and obviously with different merchant accounts and so on and so forth. So there's a bit of processing that has to happen, but I still couldn't understand why it was consuming so much time. So I started building the automations. This was where we pick up a PDF from Dropbox or Google Drive, and we extract the data out of it. We find the vendor, and then we enter the invoice in with the right exchange rate. And so that's sort of That's sort of the overall what it's doing. And on the client invoices side, which is users paying, we do something very very similar, and but at scale now. So as a result, a lot of the bookkeeping type cost is gone. So in our case, where it's about almost like a 30K saving per year that is just being wiped out, which sort of was the very first. So like because I know in Person SOS we did all the AI application on the persuasion side of things. This was for the first time almost doing like a back business, like a BPO type thing. So you're removing literally the below the gross profit line costs and replacing it with just a bunch of automations. And I've shown that in the previous videos. So in our case, it was a 30K saving, and now I'm deploying that across the entire business. And as a result, we can reduce team members. So we're almost become pretty much uh, just a pure dev business where we just have developers. There's literally, apart from me doing marketing, there's not much left in the business. Like it's very very lean now. And it's because the automations, it's not that the work's not getting done, it's being done by pretty much quite a few automations now. So that's one I just. So then I kind of went into a Grok today just to get some market size numbers. Grok's probably the best market research tool that I've ever come across. So if you're not using it, check it out, which is Twitter or X's. Oops, sorry, I got a question here. Design. Josh, I didn't get that. Design
You
of.
said you pretty much lean with no just developers. You doing any still have members doing design on your team, or are
Yeah,
they
no, so you can even get AI to do designs for you now.
good
So
designs though, or like advertising?
yeah. You can do either ads, you can an entire UI can be created just using just AI now. So we do have so once again to 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 change what the look and feel is, it's more code than design, but the look and feel, we just get that done with the AI itself. So obviously in our app, it's not very fancy design at all, so not much is needed. But I've been playing around with, let's say we wanted to make leads look really sort of a little bit more fruity looking. What would and I played with a few tools out there, and it's quite crazy what you can do. So what you did do is you just generate that design idea concept and you give it to a dev and you say, hey, listen, I just want something to look like this, but change this and the other. Obviously, you can take the image as well and get it done into code
Or
as
like
well.
ad creative by Metnick. Are you getting any AIs that are competent for
Yeah,
ad?
yeah. So just to talk about the guys who are doing the 7-8 figures per month, they're all AI now, 100% for creatives. So very little human. Obviously, I think the human part is still compliance. You don't want to get your Facebook account banned
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So apart from checking for factual accuracy and checking for like compliance and you're not over claiming
I
stuff.
mean, like the images for the ads and the
Yeah.
videos.
They're primarily using AI
Okay.
for all of that stuff as well. Yeah. Like if you're using things like Midjourney and Flux, the output is exceptional actually. So yeah, so you can absolutely. Right. So the total market size for all this BPO, all this back office stuff is actually like about $1 trillion US a year. Now, obviously, some of it is technology, so not all of that's going to get wiped out because you're obviously replacing one type of technology with a newer type of technology. But definitely the human part, the process mapping part, as in all that stuff that Accenture and Ernst and Young and all those kind of guys they come in and do. I mean, they may still be doing it at the strategy level, but the execution implementation, I can see getting wiped out pretty quickly, just like the way that we did it. So obviously in our case we have to plan it all out, so you still need some human interaction there. But having said that, like all these AI stuff we're working with now, it's a baby. The context windows are still not big enough, and there's a lot that is changing on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going to look like in a year from now, let alone months. I mean, we've seen where we've come from, 3 to 4 or 1 now with OpenAI in just 18 months or so. Can you imagine another 18 months what's going to happen? So I think a lot of this stuff can be wiped out without that much work and effort. So anyway, so what's happening now is effectively everyone's moving to management by exception, because when you have human team members, you got to have regular meetings and all that sort of stuff, because you need to cater for the human part of the relationship. But when you're doing AI, you just move to manage by exception. Essentially, you're getting triggered, or you get triggers, I should say, set up, not you getting triggered. you set up triggers for to notify you when something doesn't go according to plan. So something that's outside of the 95 or 99% that's being done by the machine. So so you're just looking for exceptions. And when the exceptions happens, you can just make it make an API call or a post directly into, for example, a Slack channel, and that way stay on top of that. Now you investigate those, and in my case, what I found is oftentimes there are things that you missed when you were building the automation. So then what you do is you take that and you put it back in, and now you've covered that as well. So if you go through a couple of rounds, you're going to find that very little is going to seep through, and your management by exception part becomes a very small part of the business. All right. Guys, if there's any questions, please just post in the chat. Unmute your mic. This is pretty open forum here. All right. So what's the point of doing all this? And to me, it was okay. So if you save, let's say, 30 grand a year, you save a little bit, on how you're, let's say, coming up with ad ideas or whatever it be, maybe a couple of technology tools you can get rid of as well, and so on and so forth. So let's say, in my case, let's say we save, let's say 50 grand or 100 grand per year in our back office. Well, what can you do with 100 grand, right? You want to redeploy it from a cost center to a revenue center or a profit center. So rather than paying for bookkeeping, which obviously has to be done, so you can do your accounting stuff and pay your taxes and stay out of jail. But what you can do is what do you do if that is no longer no longer an expense? So you could obviously take that money out and use it to invest in other things, or go on holiday or whatever the heck it is. But you could also just redeploy that into the more leverage activities of the business, which, as Peter Drucker has put it, is just innovation and marketing. But now we're looking at marketing innovation, which is what I'm going to be sharing later in the call today. Is where how can you push the marketing innovation side of things? So you're combining essentially the two together, and all function of business now becomes just marketing innovation and really nothing else. Like it's sort of pointless focusing your time on anything else. Yes, you got to make sure the accounting is getting done, but once you've automated all of that, you really just you wake up and all you think about is how you're gonna grow the business basically. Now, what does that sort of look like? So accounting and back office automations, they take a little bit longer than I expected, because you need them to be very precise, right? You can't have you can't put invoices to the wrong customer, or you can't have the wrong dollar values going out, right? So from that perspective, there's a lot more RAG involved, a lot more vector database type stuff involved and all that. So, but it's not impossible. It just means that the technical capability is a little bit more than just type a prompt, get the answer, reuse. It's a little bit more than that. You're going to need some other bits and pieces in the ecosystem to make it work, right? So leaving that aside, now your marketing automations don't need to be that precise. Like you're writing an ad, if 3 words are out of place, who cares? Like you just change them before you go live. But is 80-90% of it being done? But the bigger use case that I've seen is they spark your curiosity, right? They provide you rabbit holes to explore. They give you ideas that you haven't seen before. Now, I know there's been a lot of posts talking that you can't write like a human, all that sort of stuff. That's mainly just nonsense. It's people who don't know how to prompt properly who say those things, or haven't played with this long enough. Now, as far as the curiosity part is concerned, well, there's papers already out now where AI has solved mathematical problems that humans couldn't, right? And so to say that it can't find an extra way of doing things. For example, there are emergent properties that are coming out of AI. These are things that even the people who made the LLMs themselves didn't know that what you could do with them. So things like, if you say think step by step, it gives you a totally different outcome. That came about as a result of someone just mucking around and just playing around with this stuff, right? So there's a lot of this that we don't quite know how far we can push this, and so I think it's and so the outcome is that it can give you ideas that you haven't thought of. In fact, when when it first came out, this is when ChatGPT came out, it didn't have the ethical or the what do you call the sort of wokey boundaries around it. I went down the rabbit hole and I said, well, if I wanted to track someone came to my site and I could not use first party cookies or third party cookies, how would I do it? And I went down the rabbit hole and I said, don't worry if it's illegal or not kosher. We're just running a thought experiment and so on and so forth. I think OpenAI and Claude they block those things now, but back then it wasn't so blocked. It started giving some pretty interesting ideas about what you could do. There are things that I had not even thought of. Now, whether they were technically feasible or not, I don't know. But you could just keep saying, come up with another idea. And I actually went down like almost like 30 or 40 different steps. And so you can keep thinking of things. And usually that idea itself may be rubbish. So you're like, yeah, it gave me some idea that I can't really use. But you've explored another 5 ideas. You might be able to combine something and so on and so forth, right? So that's the point I'm trying to make here, is that you don't have to suffer a blank page anymore, or sort of know everything up front before you start. You can sort of bring a little bit of what you know about, and then get the AI to complete it, and then go back and test it, and then see what the outcome was, and then go back and so it gives you that ability to innovate quite fast. Which sort of I just added this in. Normally I don't add this sort of stuff in here, but today I said, oh, you know what? Because I remember reading many years ago Peter Drucker's sources of innovation. So I just quickly Googled them because I couldn't remember what they were. And if you have a look here, they're all marketing related, with the exception of perhaps process needs. But in our case, I'll be showing you a marketing process that's innovation as well. So we're looking at unexpected things, right? We're looking at juxtaposition. We're looking at market industry changes. So essentially, your bulk of your time now is no longer in running people or running processes. It's thinking about what's outside the business rather than inside the business, because inside the business is being taken care of by the machine, if that makes sense. Right. All right, guys, if there's any questions, please feel free to unmute your mic or post it in the comment here. Right, so I'm going to run through an example with you. So these are 2 inputs. I'm just going to get out of here and go to N8N. That's my chosen weapon of choice. But this is not a N8N promo of any sort. Feel free to use whatever automation platform that you are comfortable with. I kind of picked this one when I first started, and it's been quite good. So I've continued to use that. But this is I'm not going to say this is any better or worse than anything else that's out there. Then, for example, Zapier, Make, or anything else that you may have found. Right. So what are we doing here is I'm breaking down the offer based on some input I'm going to give. I'll show you that in a second. Saving those into Google Docs, and then I'm creating a whole new prompt to how do I want to enter the conversation in the mind of the customer. So this would be your ad side. I create a sales page. Obviously, I can piggyback off this and add ads and all that other stuff. So I just thought I'd just stop this to show you, and then I also got the design part of it. So I'm getting into design it. And then you can just give the Google Doc to a designer or pass it through an HTML coding thing and just copy and paste it directly onto a page or things of that sort, right? So that's essentially what we're looking at. So I'm going to fire this thing off now and show you what we're going to do. So I'm going to be using this input here. I found that with AI, whenever you give input, giving a context, it's all about context. The more context you give, the better it performs. Right, so let's test it out. All right, so it's popped up a form for me, right, to fill out. So I'm just going to quickly grab that. My first one is going to be my market. Who am I dealing with? So essentially, this is I'm actually creating, like, for example, a sales letter to be used for a workshop that I want to that I'm releasing later this week on all this stuff. So let's just I figured let's show you the recipe And there you go. So I'm copying and paste that right here. I'm going to grab the other one. It's a live workshop with no-code tools and so on and so forth, and come right here, right? And done. Now I'm just going to go submit and quickly go in here to show you what's actually happening. So it's running through and creating the various Google Doc files. I'm using Anthropic in this case, Claude, not the latest model, but the one from June. The latest one truncates a lot, and you can massage it by adding in some extra prompts. But I figured just use the June one for the purpose of the test. I tested both of them, and this one came out to be the best result. So what's going to happen is it's going to create the offer breakdown document in here, and then it's going to go through and work out the different ways you can enter the conversation in the mind of the customer. And that's, oops, crap. Sorry, I'm just, I've obviously made a mistake somewhere. Sorry, guys. Let me go ahead and do that right here. Okay, and I have the same mistake here. Right, let's just try that again. Stop. Okay, you know what? I'm going to shortcut this. So let's just, I won't show you the word doc. Let's just shortcut that. And okay, I think we'll, yeah, that one's good enough. Stop. Okay, I will get rid of the form again. Right, let's just say that. Okay, test the workflow again. It's popped up my, oh. As you can see here, this is the real world. Sometimes it just fails, and so it's not perfect. All right, refresh. And again, let's go. So what it basically does, it creates anyway, when I finally fix it up, it creates the different components, and each component builds on the next. So let's just test that. Okay, perfect. Right, I'm going to copy and paste those things again. So let's just go back in here. Right, copy that. And copy the bottom one. It should just run through all three. So what happens is it takes those two inputs. So it takes these two inputs and runs it through a prompt to create the breakdown of the offer. So I'm asking for things like, what are the dominant desires of the market, and what's blocking them from buying, so on and so forth. And then working out ways in which I can strike a conversation with the market. So I'm asking for a few things there, and then it creates a sales page and it designs a sales page. Now, the next step here would be to upload that straight away into a machine, and so on and so forth, or do a review process right here. Obviously, you don't want to just go live with stuff until you've tested it long enough. And then once you do that, so while it's running that, I'm going to go through and show you what my offer breakdown looks like. And let's zoom in a bit. Okay, zoom in. And okay. So the live workshop automations, is exactly what I've been searching for as a small business owner in my late 30s with 2 kids at home and a business to run. I'm constantly juggling responsibilities and feeling the pressure to keep up with the ever-changing landscape of marketing, compliance, and technology. The workshop promises to help me drive costs out of my business and speed up my marketing processes. There's the ROI and reducing the future volatility. I feel my shoulders relaxing as I imagine a potential. So I'm writing in the first person. I found that doing that always gives better input to any downstream processes you want to get done. Things like ads and or sales letters and things of that sort. All right, we have a discovery and authority section. Sorry, because it's not in Word, it's a bit hard to read here. I'm clarifying my offer here. I've got the graveyard abandoned software and half-finished courses, gathering dust in my digital closet. I mean, that's just this is AI copy. And literally, you could literally copy and paste this into an email. You could post onto in the body copy of an ad, all sorts of stuff. So the idea that they can't produce good enough copy is actually largely nonsense. And there you go. I've always struggled with procrastination, telling myself I'll get things done someday, but deep down, I'm terrified of missing out on the perfect moment, that golden opportunity that could have changed everything, so on and so forth. So as you can see here, it actually produces some pretty solid copy right here. Now, what's happening there is I'm taking that and I'm asking it to enter the conversation. So I'll provide the narratives. Here you go. It's developing a secret recipe to transform my chaotic, stress-free days, so on and so forth. So the reason for breaking it up in this way is if you want to, you can actually pick out the pieces and reconstruct something else with it. So let's say I feel like, my sales page, I want to challenge AI and go head to head with it. Well, I don't have to go and do all my research now and do all the other bits and pieces. I can just take the components from the first two and just rewrite that page or massage that page right here. And that's the reason for why I added these word ones here. So what it's doing is it takes the initial copy bits that happen, saves it into Word, gives you different ways of entering the conversation in the mind of the customer, and so that gets saved, and then the sales page gets saved, and finally the designed sales page gets saved. Now then comes the actual sales page itself. The headline is your business drowning in tedious tasks? Discover how to automate your way to success with just one workshop. Discover the cost, so on and so forth. That's literally the page that I would use to promote this very thing that I'm going to be selling. And so that's the reason for doing it in this way that I have. Obviously, you can build it out a bit further. You can start doing ads, email copy, and so on and so forth. And then finally, the design part. No point showing you that because there won't be any design to show you. But essentially, it adds in all the color and all that sort of stuff. So if you copy and paste this into Word, or if you copy and paste this into a Google, into an HTML doc or page builder, it'll automatically, will actually give you a fully well-designed page. So all it's doing, it's taking output from previously, putting it as input into the next thing, and then so on and so forth, and then finally giving you pretty solid output on the other side, right? And all started with just a form with just two inputs on it. What market am I looking at, and what's the product? And so I've been testing this for about a day or so in this format, where I've automated everything. So I used to use Claude a lot, and those who did personal SOS know, we were doing piece by piece. And more recently, I've gone down this. Now, there are some limitations to this. So there are aspects of it that don't quite work. For example, it can, because it's only got 8,000 tokens. If you want to get an entire VSL done, or you want to get an entire 20-page sales letter, then this is not going to do it yet. Or at least I haven't worked out how to make it iterate on itself multiple times where it does continue. Because in the UI part, or you can just say, hey, please continue, and it'll give you the next section. It doesn't quite do that here, and it runs out of tokens. So there are some limits because of the limits of the API and the context window at the moment. But those are limits of that are temporary, right? Because I think we were doing 1,000 or 2,000 tokens when we first started. It's gone down to 8,000 now. Platforms like Google or whatever, I think they've moved it up to 100,000 in some cases. So it'll all improve, very in short order. So these are little hacks that you have to do along the way, but they're temporary. Now, okay, so any any questions on this?
Are those Google Docs part of the flow, or are they separate testing stuff?
No, they're part of the flow. So what would happen here is, there you go. It's going to create the offer breakdown, the sales page, and so on and so forth. Obviously, when it finally works. So here's what I did. I cloned. So the mistake is I cloned these ones, and I didn't realize that I got a reference. I need to change the references to look at this docs. It's trying to. I forgot to change the it's referring to this document here. So that's what the problem is. So anyway, once we the call ends, I'll replace them. And so what it's going to do is it's going to create 1, 2, 3, 4 documents in this folder right here, and that's it. And it all starts with just 2 things, which is the product and the market. That's it. Now, which means that this is an automated process, and you can use it over and over and over again for any other market. Or so as you can see here, now you not only do you have a research tool now, you can start breaking down, what do I want to talk about in my alpha about. And if you don't like it, just ask you to do another one. Now, and I know that about maybe 3-4 weeks ago, before we went on the Christmas break, I showed looping, how you can make it, how you can make automations loop. And I've done loops with, close to, 5 to 700 loops. It just for a very large set of videos that I was looking at. And if you could set up loops to do this stuff as well, where you could, my very first thing here would be to come up with, 10 different concepts and then run each concept through this. And so then now you've got 10 different variations. And then if you really were lazy, you could take that output and put it back into the AI and say, oh, can you give me a probability of success here? And then only give me the 3 that to look at. So, there's a lot of things that you can do with increasing the variety, and then also increasing, and on the other side, increasing the evaluation that you want the AI to do. Because the goal here is that you get given something that is robust, that has gone through a lot of thinking process. Or you can mix and match. So I can have Claude write my copy for me, but my ideation would happen with O1. And I'll have, I don't know, maybe have Llama or something write the, I don't know, do something else, or maybe design the page or whatever. Does that answer the question, Joss? Joss, answer the question?
It does, Nick. It does.
Oh, right, awesome.
Just was.
So
So
I got a question from,
theoretically, Nick, you
just
could
one
have
second,
a-
Joss. I got a question from Jason here. Let me just cover that off. Could you just upload previous results and ask them? Yeah, absolutely you can. Yes, you can. So what I would do is, if you have a look here, when I activated this, I'm gonna this little form thing that pops up, this right here, that could be your thing, and you can insert this halfway through. So you could also use it as a way to evaluate content. So you can say, let's say, for example, you want to have a break here. You want to have a human evaluation at this point. Let's say you want to have a human evaluation here, and here. And you could effectively launch it into I don't know, a section up here, and kind of have a button or something or whatever to say, like, yeah, I like this or don't like this, or I want to update with my own stuff, so I can copy and paste your own inputs. I made them required fields so that I don't forget or be lazy. And you can copy and paste the previous output from here. So let's say you've done a whole bunch of work previously. Let's say or in some other AI, or someone's given you some stuff to work with. You can actually just copy and paste that directly into whatever you want here. Now, I've obviously created a form with only 2 fields on it, but you can create a form with 1 field or 10 fields, whatever is going to be applicable for your market, and then reference that in the prompt itself. So yes, to answer your question, absolutely you can. You really are limited by your imagination as to how much human input you want to insert into each workflow. I've taken the lazy route here, where I've just put in like a little bit of information, my market and my product, and then on the other side it spits out everything. But you could have a, I guess if you were doing let's say for production, or you're just starting out and you weren't sure it's going to be if it's going to be a bit dodgy, then you can obviously have human input everywhere, or have the human input here. Like, so in my case, the reason why I'm saving all of this, because I actually do want to go and read and see, like, what the AI say, does it does it conform to what my beliefs are about the market? Or can I refine it in some way, and so on and so forth. So that there's that period of where you're sort of evaluating, making sure that some errors aren't creeping in. But as I said in the slides, like it's marketing, so it doesn't have to be precise. As long as it's more correct than not, it'll produce stuff that is actually pretty solid. So those of you who do the Persuasion SOS course, you know very well that you can make this thing produce, spectacular copy that will rival any human when you do stuff like this. Right, Jason, hope that answers the question. Cool. Any other questions?
You have this as a multi-step process where at the end it can push it into like a project manager and then
Correct.
have the next step trigger off
Correct.
from there.
Correct. Yeah, you can actually then make an API call into Teamwork or Asana or whatever thing you're doing for that person to. So yeah, so let's say if you're running a Kanban board, then your marketing concept shows up as I don't know, to be evaluated column or something, and then once they've evaluated it or they discard it or they don't like it, they can actually trash it, and you can actually trigger that as run it again, and because each time it runs, it's going to give you slightly different output. So you can actually have that and have your human being sitting inside the Kanban board doing the human evaluation part. And then if they like it, they move on to the next one. Or you could have different experts that are sitting on your Kanban board, of which AI holds maybe a column or where you would obviously execute something from column A. Once it's done, it pushes into column B. Your human evaluates it, and then sends it back to some other human, maybe for compliance check or something, because you make sure you don't get your account banned or say anything that you're not supposed to say, or against the FTC or GDPR or I don't know, any other government regulation there is around these things.
Your human could add comments and then have that feedback in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let's say, for example, what came out here, and I don't like it. I thought it was too aggressive. I could actually send it back with a bunch of comments, and you could have that as an input field in here, and it would rerun the whole thing. This time taking into account that final thing. So yes, you're kind of I guess the to sort of conclude the point I'm trying to make here is you're kind of limited by what your business needs to do to do this well. It's not a tech limitation. It's more just what are the business rules around what you're doing. Right. Anybody else? Any other questions? Hey, Paul, you have something?
I was thinking about obviously using the input as from a DT, all the questions, and obviously how would it relate? So they literally answer 30 questions on something. I say testosterone as a normal example, and then you create the sales page from there, from all the answers they give you. Now, how would it fit into this kind of NA?
Yeah, okay, right. Okay, so in your case, what I would do is I would run through this as an experiment and get like the best format of a sales letter. And so because obviously when you run through everything, it's going to take a couple of minutes maybe. And if that's the case, then there's a good chance that the AI is going to be too slow for a sales page. Now, obviously, if you're doing a dynamic generated lead magnet or something, and you're sending it via mail or sending it, later on in your process, then that's fine, because obviously you've got time now to create the lead magnet or to create the sales letter or the report or whatever it is. But if you were to doing sort of real time thing where a bunch of people have answered 30 questions, so then what I would do is I would look at, in fact, there was someone that has done that inside LeadSoak. So they were struggling with that idea, that same concept that we had, that there's, it takes too long. So I said, all right, let's look at the answers that have come through and what are the combinations of answers that you see. So when we dumped it all into a Google Sheet, we realized that there's only like 8 different clusters of big answers. So as much as you have 30 questions, most of the people answer the questions in a very similar way, or there's groups of people that answer in a similar way. So now you've got 8 different groups. Well, you'd manually run through the answers and get those 8 sales letters, and you would basically then pick the one that matches the best one, and you would display that, and that would speed up the whole thing. And so in your case, then you would just personalize aspects of it. And if it's something small, like just maybe just a close or just the intro paragraph or something, you could use something like 4.0 mini, which is actually quite fast. So the latency is not there. So basically what you're doing is currently there's a limitation of time. So you would want to kind of, that's the hack. But I think next year or the year after or whatever, whenever some point in the future where that won't be a limitation anymore, at that point you can remove these sort of tricks. Does that make sense? I
Yeah.
hope I explained that well as to what you're doing. Yep.
And I suppose for emails as well, if you had like 7 different email sets for objections for, I don't know, solar, and their objection was the environment, or that's what they're going for, that'd be the first one you'd send them and send them down a different path.
Correct.
Automation. Okay.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So which sort of leads me to sort of, yeah, like this is, I didn't intend to do this, but I received, people have been watching the automation videos that I did last year. And I got quite a few PMs about the whole thing saying, hey, listen, can you just kind of show me how to do it? So anyway, so I'm going to release, it's $199. It's super cheap. It's a workshop where I'm going to do it in 2 time zones. I'm going to do it in Aussie time zone. I'm going to do it in the US time zone. And if need be, I'll do it in a Kiwi time zone or any other time zone. It's going to be one good workshop. We'll go through the stuff. And anyway, yeah, there's nothing fancy there. You've kind of get the idea of what we're going to do. So essentially looking at building these sort of things and going through the nuances of how do you plan this thing out, what to do about it, what are the gotchas. There's some gotchas when you run into this stuff at scale. So such as the prompt running out of tokens, and how do you force tokens and all that sort of stuff. So we'll be looking at that sort of thing. It's quite cheap. It's only $199. So if this is if this is a gap in your capability and skill set, or if you just need to actually just get it done, because I think we all have priorities, and unless you're forced to, we just don't do anything. So if that's you, just click the link, join up. We'll start next week. I'm gonna end the promo by Friday. We'll start next week. So whoever turns up, we'll go through it. We'll look at loops. We'll look at this. We'll look at prompts. We'll look at so it's more around how do you speed up everything. So whether it be accounting side of things or marketing side of things or whatever, I'll cover a variety of topics. This is not Leadshook centric. This is more just automation centric. I think this is the frontier that really allows you to compete because of the savings you get. You redeploy that capital. But that's what all this is about. Is how do you take the stuff that doesn't make you money out of it? Yeah. Thanks, Joss. For $199, man, come on. For new peeps. Yeah, nah. Anyway, I'll be sharing some stuff that's gonna make $199 look like a walk in the park. So but I need an extended time period to spend with you guys and share with you. And then we're gonna do some follow-up calls in case someone gets stuck. And there's going to be obviously a special Facebook group. I'm calling it Speed SOS rather than Automations or AI because it's not always about just automations and AI. You also want to see, it's about solving a business problem using automations and AI. It's not about AI, just automations or AI itself. We're not doing AI for AI's sake, automations for automation's sake. We're doing it to solve actually a problem, which is how do you redeploy capital? It's about return on invested capital on your business, not about AI or automations. All right, with that, I kind of end the pitch, my pitch for the day, and I'll be doing some posts about it in the next few days. Interested, grab it right there. Move on to, okay, sorry, before I move on, any other questions on this before I move on to a one-on-one? I did listen to you guys for Persuasion SOS. The course never to be sold. All right. Anyway, guys, yeah. Any questions on this for anybody else that's on the call? We've got Kenton. We've got February, Andy, Alan. No questions. Okay. Well, if there's no questions, what I'll do is I'll move on to the thing that's causing a bit of grief. It's not that difficult, but I'm gonna share with you guys what to do. If there's any questions, please just unmute your mic or post it in the comments here. All right, so it's the feature highlight 1-to-1 consent. So the guys at LeadByte reached out uh, and asked about the one-on-one consent. So we've got those nodes coming up. They should be already. This is my dev account, so that's why it's here. But it should be in production either today or it's happening right now as we speak. So what you got is you're gonna see a bunch of API nodes. So for lead byte, it's the delivery checker for and the submit to lead byte. So that's the grabbing of the offers or the bids. That's to send the winning bids or the bids that someone picks back to lead byte. For lead prosper, there's ping and post. So there's a you ping to get the bids. There's people who qualify who want to for the offer, and then post is the winning bid IDs that that someone has selected. Right. Sorry, I see a question here. Let me just grab that first. Referring URL issue. Remember we solved that one? Anyway, yeah, I'll jump on the call with you later
right.
to resolve that. Yeah. Right. So so just to show you what it looks like in my demo environment, I've got so let's just do the 10 buyers. Right. So that's the bid IDs that come back via the API call. It's ugly because I'm using it to see what's actually happening in the real world. Your client or they won't see this. That's the 10 bids or offers that are coming back from lead prosper in this case, and it displays it like this, right? So we give you that page as it is. You can design it however you want. We've got the option of select all. So there you go. You can select all. You press the submit button, and what that does, we're just saying there you go. That's the bid IDs that are going to be submitted back to lead prosper in this case. And I go forward, and it brings back sort of the buyers. I'm not sure why they didn't display, but anyway, it works. So that's actually how the whole one-on-one part works. So the main bit is that middle bit there. Just to show that to you again, is this this bit right here. That's the main part. So it's a dynamic page. So if only 3 offers come back, it'll display 3. If 10 offers come back, it'll display 10. If 1 offer comes back, then it'll display 1, but then it won't have select all. Right. And so that's and so we've got a script there that's looking to build these the options up in dynamically. Because what we found was as much as you can do it with JavaScript, a lot of people were building like multiple pages, like a 1 page and 2, sorry, a 1 offer page and a 2 offer page and all the way up to a 10 offer page. And when I saw the setup, I was like, oh, okay, that's really not the way to do it. Just make it dynamic. It's just code. So we're offering that now, and so that way anyone who's either using lead by lead prosper, they're the only 2 ones who've come back to us. Drag and drop the API nodes and this one node right here, and build it out this way. So it'll be 1, 2, and 3. That's the 3 main things that are needed to send to do one-on-one consent, and that's the application for it. Right. Any questions on one-to-one consent?
Have you got any ways to make that prettier and make the select all the obvious answer?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think you can't do select all, but it's your business. You can have it select all if you wanted to, and make them deselect. But I think that's the whole consent point. But whatever your option is, the way that
sorry, Nick. I mean, make it the obvious answer for people to use, like
from
a marketing psychology.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is not marketing psychology. It's just showing you the technical functionality. To get the thing designed in whatever way, just grab that whole thing and just dump it into ChatGPT and say, this is what I'm looking to do. Inject a bit of psychology and persuasion, and design it this way. You can even upload an image of your website, so it has context around what it looks like, and it'll actually rewrite the whole thing for you. Just tell it, don't touch anything else except for design, and that is the fastest way to get whatever design you want. That's the reason why we didn't design it, because we figured there are so many permutations in how people are doing this stuff. So there was no real way to do it. We thought of a page builder, but it'll just be too slow. It's just so much faster just to dump it into OpenAI or Claude and ask it to design it. Right. Any other questions? I see someone unmuting here. Nope. All right, guys. Any other questions on this? Hey, Chris, good to see you. Nope. Okay. Well, if there's no more questions, I'll go back to the. Yeah. So anyway, any other Q&A questions anyone has? You'd like me to run through anything through this again in particular?
Any idea when the page builder's coming out?
Yeah, I believe we're in final testing now. So the page builder will actually build itself. You just kind of like not too different to this stuff here. You're gonna give it two inputs, the market and the product. I think the team had made it easier. You just put the URL of your website, and we'll scrape stuff there, and then it scrapes a bunch of other stuff, and then it does something. Well, no, it's a bit more sophisticated than this. There's a whole bunch of agents that do that work, and then it creates a profile to then build your page from that. We're calling it a marketing vault. So let's see if I can. Don't know if I've got the right. There you go. Let's see what we got. There you go. So it creates a vault with a whole bunch of stuff there. So that's the, and these are the files that get used to then build. So it's got objections, it's got, you know, the benefits, it's got the market segments, it's got a whole bunch of stuff. These are all created automatically by agents. And that's the agentic framework they've been working with or working on for about a year now. So then it uses all this to then build your pages out, which we can extend that to ads and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we'll might do that at some point very soon, because once you have this information, you can really build whatever you want with it. Right. So that's automated DT building and automated page building. Or funnel building, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any other questions? Everyone's been quiet today. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Andy, any questions?
No, I'm mostly good so far.
Cool. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, well, guys, if there's no more questions, we'll call it a night or day, depending where you are. Have a great week and best wishes for 2025. Hope all of you have a big bumper year. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll chat. Yeah, same time, same place next week. All right, guys. Good night.